My ex-wife accused me of SA. After not talking for 10 years, my family came to apologize. My ex-wife, Sarah, and I were married for about 5 years. From the outside looking in, we were the picture-perfect couple. I was getting a tech business off the ground, and she played the part of the charming, supportive wife. I'll be the first to say it. I was naive. I saw her expensive taste and constant social climbing as ambition, not the giant red flags they really were. But my biggest blind spot was our finances. See, my business was started with seed money from my mother. To protect that investment, all the major assets were legally in her name. It was just a practical business decision, one I never imagined would become the very thing that would detonate my entire life. The marriage fell apart, mostly under the weight of her own unhappiness. When she filed for divorce, she was so confident, clearly expecting a massive payday. Her lawyer came in hot, demanding half of my business. That's when the bomb dropped. The business wasn't technically mine to give away. The assets belonged to my mother. The look in her eyes when she realized this, I'll never forget it. Pure fury. And that's when everything went dark. A week later, I was served with a restraining order. She had gone to the police with a horrible, detailed, and completely made-up story of sexual assault. But she didn't stop with the police. She ran straight to my parents, my siblings, my entire family. She was a master at playing the victim, weaving this story of fear that painted me as a monster. And my family, to my absolute shock, bought every word. They didn't call me. They didn't ask a single question. They just erased me. The next 10 years were all about survival. The legal fight was a complete nightmare of lawyers' fees and public shame. Since she had no real evidence, the criminal case was eventually dropped. But that didn't matter to my family. In their eyes, the accusation was the same as a conviction. I lost everyone. I was suddenly uninvited from holidays, weddings, even funerals. I had to start over from nothing. I sold the few things I had left and moved to another city. It was a lonely life, haunted by the giant hole where my family used to be. Then I met a wonderful woman who is now my wife. She saw me for who I am, not what I was accused of. We had a daughter. When she was born, I sent my parents a picture. They sent it back, unopened. For a decade, that was my reality. A man with a beautiful new family, but forever shadowed by the one that threw him away. Then about 6 months ago, my doorbell rang. Standing on my porch were my parents and my sister. They looked older, exhausted, and weighed down by a decade of guilt. They told me that Sarah had recently gotten engaged to some wealthy guy. Apparently at a dinner party, after a little too much wine, she got careless. She started talking to her fiancé's family about how she had outsmarted me in the divorce and let it slip how she had handled me by making up a story so vile that no one in my family would ever speak to me again. They stood there on my porch and begged for a forgiveness I honestly wasn't sure I could give. That confession was all it took. While suing for defamation is complicated, the social fallout for her was fast and brutal. Her fiancé, completely disgusted that she would not only lie about something so cruel but then brag about it, called off the engagement immediately. My family, desperate to fix what they had broken, made it their mission to set the record straight. They called everyone, old friends, former colleagues, and explained the lie Sarah had told them. The reputation Sarah spent a decade building was destroyed. Once the scandal got out, she was seen as a liability and lost her high-paying job. Her friends wanted nothing to do with her. The web of lies she had spun for me had finally trapped her instead. There was no court battle, no big victory for me. It was just the truth, finally coming out and watching her life crumble under the weight of it.